today's session. My name is Judith Fessehaye, and I lead the policy and data work within the SheTrades initiative at the International Trade Center. I hope you can all hear me, hopefully.
Loud and clear.
Excellent.
Loud and clear, Judith.
Excellent. So on behalf of the International Trade Center, ITC, I thank you all for taking the time to join us for today's session. As you know, trading under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area started in January this year. It's a pivotal moment for the continent, and we need to make sure, together with all the business associations across the continent, that the AfCFTA works for women, women producers, women-owned businesses, women entrepreneurs. This training is part of the GIZ-funded SheTrades Empowering Women in the AfCFTA project. So let me start by thanking GIZ for the incredible support they provided to this initiative and for the importance they attach to the issue of women economic empowerment in Africa. So what have we achieved with this project so far? Last year, we have focused on training for policy advocacy with the business associations, and based on that, we have developed a training manual which provides a lot of tips and guidance on how to make sure that the business associations are effective in lobbying the governments to make sure the outcome of the AfCFTA works for them. We have reviewed and finalized recommendations for phase 1 of the AfCFTA, which covers trading goods and trading services, as many of you know. We have also started to discuss phase 2 issues, which will be negotiated and wrapped up this year, which relates to the protocol on investment, competition policy, and intellectual property. We have carried out an export potential map study for the COMESA region, which provides women entrepreneurs in 19 countries with all the market access information they need to take advantage not only of COMESA, but also of the AfCFTA. And we have a number of modules on the virtual learning school system on the SheTrades.com, focusing on the AfCFTA, on COMESA, and upcoming on the ECAS regional trade arrangements. So what can we expect in 2021? We have many activities lined up between now and June. First of all, now we are kicking off with a number of sessions on institutional strengthening to make sure your business support organization, your women business association are fit and ready to provide the best services you can to the women entrepreneurs that belong to your associations. We will then focus on how to make sure that the business association across Africa can network in a more effective manner, both in terms of sharing information and resources, and also in terms of lobbying the African Union Commission and African governments on the priorities for the AfCFTA. And then we'll continue with phase 2 issues, intellectual property, competition and investment, to finalize recommendations for these protocols. We are already working with the African Union Commission towards a high-level event towards May and June with trade ministers to make sure that all of this work results in effective recommendations for trade ministers, for African trade ministers. So we will keep you updated on the high-level event, and obviously you will all be invited to attend. So for today's session, we are delighted to have here Mr. Andrea Santoni and Mr. Ryan Evangelista, which will cover with us basic concepts on business development models for the Women Business Association. The module today will provide a general overview of the foundational concepts for business association, and we will then aim at developing a deeper understanding of the strategic pillars of the association, issues around membership, business services, concepts, program delivery, a fundraising model. So we look very much forward to the session today. I would like to now ask my colleague, Anahita, who works with me in SheTrades under this project, to share with you some housekeeping rules to make sure that the session is run effectively. Please, Anahita, take the floor.
Thank you very much, Judith. We're very excited to see so many interested participants join us today. But before we begin, just to make sure everything runs smoothly, I wanted to go over a few items with you. So today's session will be available in both English and in French. So if you would like to listen to the session in French, I encourage you to look for the interpretation globe at the bottom of your screen and click on the French channel. So you should be on the channel in the language that you want to listen in. So if you want to listen in English, make sure that the globe shows English. The PowerPoint that will be displayed will be in English, but we will have the French version that we will share with you after the meeting if you would like it. I would also like to note that the session will be recorded, and we had a few questions at the beginning, so anyone who would like to refer to the recording afterwards, we will share the link for you to use as well via email. And just to avoid any background noise while the presenters are speaking, if we could please ask you to keep yourselves muted, that would be very helpful. And if you do have any comments or questions, please write them in the chat, and we'll be sure to address them. If you have any technical issues listening to the correct channel or with Zoom, our colleague Baroka, also from ITC, will be able to help you. So please just write it in the chat and she will help to address all of the questions. So with that, I will hand over to Andrea and Ryan to begin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much, Judith, for this comprehensive introduction. I'm really excited and thrilled to be here today with you and to address those topics that are very, very much dear to me, because institutional strengthening has been a big part of my professional and also academic career. My name is Andrea Santoni, by the way. I'm Italian of origin, but a little bit, I feel a little bit global in terms of who I am today, right? I've been working in the field of institutional development for over 70 years now, and I've worked in over 40 countries around the world, helping organizations setting up, strengthening themselves, measuring their impact, and so on and so forth. We've been doing lots of program with institutions like you. So it's one of my passion. Is one of my, and that's why I'm very, very excited to be here with you today. At ITC, I'm particularly looking at the institutional development component, and in particular looking at what we call the ITC benchmarking program, which is a tool that ITC has developed to measure the institutional performance of organizations like yours. And we will talk more about this. And prior to joining ITC many years ago, I was working for a membership-based organization like your organizations, Italian French Chamber of Commerce, where I was head of the communication, and I was also working directly in providing services to enterprises. So I'm very happy to be here today and to be supported by a very, very good professional that I have lots of respect for, Ryan Evangelista. Ryan Evangelista is joining us from the Philippines. Ryan is a friend and is a very good professional and has a lot of experience in membership-based organization. So I will hand over to Ryan so he can introduce himself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrea, and a pleasant day to all of you. I'm very happy and excited to be part of this program, and I'd like to sincerely thank my colleagues at ITC for bringing me in and be able to share my experience, but also a lot of learnings in relation to membership organizations' work and activities. Andrea and I have been working together closely in the last few years on this team in trade strengthening, trade support institution strengthening as a consultant. But beyond that, I serve as a country director for an association affiliated with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and I'm based here in Manila, Philippines. I've also had the privilege of working with USAID in the past, as well as with the biggest chamber of commerce in the country. I served as a senior deputy secretary general for over 13 years, handling advocacy, communications, and policy work. And I also served as executive director of the Australian New Zealand Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. And currently, I'm chairing the corporate governance committee of the Philippines Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where my career started more than 20 years ago as a advocacy specialist and eventually as a deputy secretary general. It is my privilege to be part of this wonderful group of women leaders and women entrepreneurs. And I'm excited to go with the journey that you are undertaking, because being part of the association universe for the last 2 decades has been my best experience in my professional endeavor. And I have a lot of respect for all association leaders and association members who thrive hard, especially in the environment that we have at the moment. So my big thank you and congratulations to all of you for being part of this journey and for being an inspiration, true inspiration to fellow women entrepreneurs and women leaders around the world. I look forward to a very exciting conversation with all of you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you very much for this very comprehensive introduction. As we can see, there is a lot of experience in the room, lots to, to share and learn from each other. We expect to learn a lot from you as well. Just one housekeeping element. And Anna, you said that the chat is taken care of. Just wanted to inform you that I'm not keeping an eye on the chat. So if there is any relevant questions that are coming up, if you're going too fast, if there is a problem in the connection, I trust you are our eyes and ears on the chat so that you can inform us on that. Um, so that I don't look like someone who is doesn't respond to questions.
Yes,
Okay,
of course. You've
great.
got it covered.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so most of you will ask himself or herself why I am here today. How did I land in this training today, right? Well, I have an answer. Probably you have been receiving in July 2020 a survey that was sent by the ITC SheTrades initiatives that was circulated among Africa Women Business Association and the objective of this survey was to first of all understand the participation of the Women Business Association in the African continental free trade area, so what Judith has just discussed, but also gather feedback around the current impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the organization and also on the enterprises this association and Women Business Association serve. Okay, so this is probably the reason why you are here today. So today we want to share just very briefly what are the results of this survey, so that we you can have a better understanding on why we have choose this curriculum of capacity building, why we have choose this structure of training, and how do we would like to address the elements and the issue that arise during this from the responses of this survey. Okay, so we are going to look at the profile of the institution that were surveyed, 76 organizations. We're going to look at the impact. We're going to look at the impact of COVID-19. There is a one microphone open. Thank you. The impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the institution surveys, and we look at the capacity building needs that helped us structuring the program that we're going to present today as a first part. Okay, let's look at the profiles of the institution, of the membership-based organization, as we can call them in a broader sense. We will see that most of the organization are largely membership-based, so association or organization that are taking care of members, that are existing for the members. We see that the variety of those organizations is very wide. Okay, we have 48% of these organizations that have 1 to 200 members. We have a non-negligible 22% of organizations that have from 200 to almost 1,000 members. We have a 21% of those organizations that have from 1,000 to 20,000, and we have a 10% of those organizations that go from 20,000 to 500,000. So from this, you can understand that in the room, we might have a great variety of organization, which brings a lot of diversity, a lot of different needs. And this has obviously, it's a double cut. It can be an advantage and a disadvantage. It can be an advantage in the sense that it will bring lots of experience and lots of different views. But also a disadvantage because we will have to tailor our program to match as much as possible the needs of all this type of organization. An organization that has 200 from 1 to 200 members, maybe 50 or 60 or 70 members, is not the same from one that has over 200 members or over 1,000 members. That you can understand. So we will probably lose some of you on the way, or gain some traction, hopefully. So we will try our best with your help to guiding us to make this match to better serve the audience of organization. Um, let's see, the number of employees also, it varies a lot from organizations that have not at all staff, so are more kind of clubs, so based on volunteer basis, to organizations that have over 20 staff. So you can see that here also the variety of the staff working in the organization in the associations is very diverse. Okay, we can say that most of them are located between 1 to 5 people working for the association, working full time for the association. So this is the big majority. So we are looking at a relatively small to medium size organization. This is what we're looking for, and possibly this is the sample of organization that we have today represented in the room. Okay. Most of the association that have responded to the survey have some type of membership fees, all right? Roughly 80% of those associations receive some type of membership fees from their members, which is totally normal. We will see this as the one type of business model, but we try to explore in this session also other type of revenue generation streams that this type of association can tap into. Okay, this is the interesting part, I guess, of this training. Area of activities. Most of you are active in training and mentoring your members. Most of you are active in providing business opportunity through different type of channels, matchmaking, trade fairs, etc. A good percentage also is providing market intelligence, access to finance, referrals from other organizations or companies, access to legal advisory services, awareness raising, training on intellectual property and other type of advocacy, and access to tax advisory and services. So this is more or less the pool of services, what your service portfolio looks like as of today. So we will go in deep into this type of service portfolio structure, and we would like to try to understand why you are offering those services and what is the return on investment that you do on this service. So this is the type of reflection that we'll be doing throughout the training. Okay. Sectors, very varied. Almost all of you, 70% of the organization are active in all sectors. A big part, mainly active in agricultural sectors, and other sectors are highly underrepresented. So mainly cross-cutting all sectors or focusing on agriculture. This is the sample that we got. You will be able to confirm. Now, what was the impact of COVID-19 on the work of the business association, of the Women Business Association? So one of the questions that we've answered is, in what way the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic affected or likely to affect your organization? Most of them, most of you have answered that the COVID-19 pandemic has dramatically impacted on your ability to deliver services to members. And this is probably by the fact of the low mobility that you were able to engage, and other, it's, we know this result are coming from July. So in July, the pandemic crisis was pretty fresh. So for most of you, the COVID pandemic has represented a total shift in the way of working that they have used up to now. So it's obvious; those results to me are pretty obvious. And so also we have a moderate impact on the communication that you were able to have with your members. This means that despite the COVID pandemics, most of you were equipped with communication means that have enabled them to more or less keep a good level of communication with their members. Only 27%, which is not negligible, but had a very high impact on the way to communicate to its members. Okay. Quickly, in what way the coronavirus pandemic affected or likely to affect your organization? Most of you have lamented, let's say, their ability to retain staff. Okay, almost half of the organization were struggling to retain staff. So probably we're talking about organization have headquarters staff that I have staff that they retribute monthly, and it was difficult for this organization to retain this staff. Also, on the other flip side of that, I think that this is directly related, this inability to retain staff is directly related to the fact that your members, so the enterprises, weren't able to provide you with the same level of income in terms of fees, but also in terms of service request to the organization for those of you who charge for services. So this is quite a very connected elements that this slide is showing, right? Then, in what way the coronavirus pandemic affected or likely to affect your organization in terms of revenue stream? A lot. We see that 80% have been affected in terms of their ability to generate revenue stream, generate resources, and is completely connected to the slide that we've seen before. And 45% of the association have seriously, let's say, be threatened in terms of sustainability. Okay, some of you might have also have suspended temporarily or permanently their activity because of the problems that we have discussed. Okay, most of you, 92%, are planning to take measures to continue offering these services. So this is basically, even though we were highly impacted by COVID, we want to take measure. I want to change our business model to keep serving our constituencies, keep serving our members. Okay. The main business challenges that we have encountered on the right side of the slide, we see that our clients, our companies, clients, members, call it whatever is most suitable to your case, has lower sales to consumer, lower sales to business, uncertainty on how to recover, the low morale. So those are the three main causes: lower sales, low to consumers, to other businesses, but also low morale in terms of how this situation of uncertainty has impacted both your association and your clients. Same thing in terms of how this has impacted the women enterprises that you serve. So enterprises that are mainly run by women entrepreneurs. The data are very much similar. 85% of them were affected. So what are the capacity building needs? At the end of this survey, we've asked you, how can we help you? Where would you like us to support you? And you have said the following: 80% of you, we would like to build new sustainable business model. Our business model has been disrupted. I mean, for me, this first element screams our business model, what we knew, has been completely disrupted. So how can we create new business models that are sustainable in this new normal? The second thing is the service delivery and customer relationship. So how to keep communication with your clients, how to manage your clients, how to provide them the best value for money. The third part is the strategy and governance. So how to organize our association so that our governance processes are enabling our mandate, are enabling the achievement of our objectives. So this is very important. 60% of the organization association. Then lower down is the performance and result measurement, how to measure results. The fifth element was how to manage risk. So high volatile environment, how do we take advantage of risk management practices, and others 5%. So as you can see, this reflects completely the type of curriculum that we have set up for this series of seminar. Okay, we have 8 sessions together, so we have 16 hours to spend together on these topics, and I'm really thrilled about this program that we have put together, because we think it's very practical. Our approach will be a little bit in French we say entonnoir. Okay, we will start generic and we will go more specific as we go. Why? Because we want to know you. We want to know who is in front, who is in the room, and whether the things we're doing are actually suitable for your type of association, for your situation, and for your members. We will dedicate the first 2 sessions, so today's session and next week's session, on developing business development model for sector association. We have discussed that. We will see that in detail. We will look at the governance for business support organization, membership-based organization, call it whatever you want, but it's the governance for this type of association. We look at the strategy, how to be agile, how to create a strategy that is agile in a certain time. How do you guide your response without being stuck in a 5-year strategic plan? Okay, this is the element of the training of the 23rd of February. Next month, on 2nd of March, we will go more in detail in the service portfolio development. We will see how do we translate the business development models that we have envisaged into an actual service portfolio. And then always in March, we will going into managing risk and result measurement. So the last 2 capacity building requests that we have identified in your survey. Then there are the last 2 sessions, the 7 and 8, will be a more strategic discussion on networking. We will see that women business organization needs network, needs partners to learn from each other. And this is what we want to provide. The last 2 sessions will be really how can we, after all that we have seen in terms of the key building blocks of an association, how we can get that elements and bundle it into a networking strategies for women business associations, so that you can keep strengthening each other going forward. So I hope you are excited as much as me in terms of what this curriculum is proposing, and get your cup of tea, and off we go with the first part. Okay. So purpose of the workshop. Let me put everything. So this workshop, I think I've said it all, but is the first objective is to provide a broader understanding on the purpose and mandate of the sector association in delivering business services. We will look into the support that you provide in creating, strategizing, and analyze revenue streams, different business models, and product and services for your clients. We will support business women association in developing business plans to enable sustainable revenue generation program aligned with strategic objective and mandate. And we will identify areas of coaching and mentorship to support association implementing monitoring outcomes of the business plan. This is very much the purpose of the whole training. Okay, today we will be much more generic. We will be, as I said, on the business model. So keep that in mind for the whole curriculum that we are going to address. But let me go one step back. Why do we focus on business association, women business association? Why can't we somehow deal with the women business association in the same way that we deal with normal membership-based organization? Okay, so we're going to discuss that. The first reason is that women as a social group are generally underrepresented in the political and economic decision-making process and political economic environment, okay? This lack of business network are often, they lack of business network, as I was referring before, and they often are paid less than their male counterparts. So in this case, women business association have a very important elements to advocate for women business rights and to help them better integrate this multilateral system of trade. Okay, with women business association play in fact an important role in connecting women to markets and network, and they usually don't have access to. They are, as we saw, your portfolio of services is very broad. They're facilitating access to finance, sharing and developing business opportunity. They do lobbying and advocacy on business for women business interest, and overall providing a platform for learning. And this is also one of our objectives. As I said, session 7 and 8 will be really networking among yourself and learning from each other, and use the resources that we are providing in this training. Okay, now let's go generic. Okay, as I said, let's go broad. What is a membership-based organization? Membership-based organization is an association or a body, let's say, that support entrepreneurship development in an economy or in a specific sector. Most business member organization are member or based or voluntarily based with a board of director that is elected by its member. One characteristic of the membership-based organization is that they don't act from themselves. The management of the association should represent, in the best case, the, the their constituencies, their stakeholders. And most of the time, those stakeholders are actually joined into what we can call a conseil d'administration or a board of director. And we will see that in the third session about governance, okay? Membership-based organization provides services to their members and primarily advocate and serve as a spokesperson through its representation and government. Other services include provision of business advisory, research, supporting enterprise development, networking, and business matching opportunity to enterprise ecosystem. So if we look at this point, we have a broad base of representation. Membership-based organizations are membership-based organizations because they represent the interest of a particular sector or a particular group or a particular type of entrepreneurs that are sharing commonalities among them. This is why I belong to one association rather than another, because I see that the vision, the mission, and the services of that particular association are more responding to my, and I'm talking as an enterprise, my needs as an enterprise, for me to improve my competitiveness, to improve my sale, and to thrive in a very competitive business environment. Okay. Membership-based organization, in fact, as I said, they offer a unique value proposition, or at least they should offer a unique value proposition, which is ideally communicated and defined by vision, mission statement, and strategic goals. If you have I mean, as we said, membership-based organization can be generic in the sense they can act in different sectors and for different stakeholders group. However, it is very important that the value proposition is properly articulated, that the mission and vision of the organization, of the association is clear to everybody, that is clear and unambiguous. Okay, that me as an SME, I look at this organization and say, okay, this is the organization that serve my purpose. So this is very important. We're going to address this point. Um, and actually, what is value proposition? What is value for money? What is return on investment? Because an SMEs, when they pay a membership fee, looks at return on investment. I have to pay $100 per year. Why do I pay that? What is the return on investment? Why I should pay that fee? And we need to give those enterprises a good reason, a compelling reason on why businesses should join our organization in the first place and pay the membership fees. Because this is important because most of the time those membership fees represent a good base for the organization on the membership based association to function. Okay, very good. Now I would like to go a little bit further in terms of MBOs, membership-based organizations, so we're talking broadly, and women business association. But I also would like to join those two concepts, okay? Membership-based organization, we say, are organization or association that are advocating for a specific stakeholder group, for a specific sector. So we can have different type of membership-based organization: trade or industry association, cotton association of Africa, textile association, agricultural association, coffee women association. I mean, there's something around a specific industry of a specific sector. Then there are small scale enterprises association. So not only the sector could be a determinant element that provides the raison d'être of that particular association, but it could also be the size of the companies that belong to that association. If I'm in a company that have more than 50 employees, I will probably be not bother to join a small scale enterprise association, but because I will have different needs. But if I'm in a company that have me and my wife, or me and my siblings working in a small company, and I'm a small scale association, I have similar needs to other similar companies. Okay, so industrial estate association. Industrial estate association are those associations where we put at disposal of our members industrial estate, offices, mills, cooling facilities, everything that is something that needs that serve our purpose as a company. Okay, so I can join an association because I am a coffee producer and I don't have the ability to roast my coffee to improve to move my product from a raw product to improve its value. So I can have an association that provides roasting facility for coffee, or I don't know, mill facility for cereals and other things. Okay, employer association, so association that are actually gathering companies in terms of business owners. Okay, business owners can have an added value in be part of a community where employers association can speak peer to peer. Then we have apex bodies of federation. Those are associations that are not necessarily dealing directly with final members, with companies, but they might let's say, function as an umbrella for other association. For example, I can be an apex body for coffee association, and I can have different coffees association within different provinces or even within different countries. Okay. And then we have binational chamber of commerce. That is one also type of association where I worked in, where the association actually take care of the bilateral relations between one country and another. Now, why I put women association on the side? Because women association is we don't get together just for the simple fact that only for the simple fact that we are women business association and we advocate for women business association. Yes, this is one of the reasons, but also technically we will possibly gather under one of more of these elements that you have on your right. So we can be a women business association, but we actually looking at the trade industry of the association. We can be women business association that are taking care of small scale entrepreneurship, etc., etc., etc. So I would like to pass the message that the women business association is really a cross-cutting element to something that all membership-based organization should think about when setting up its own business model. Okay. Um, okay, let's see the phases or the level of membership based organization. So what is the organizational development curve that we have? As you can see here, we have 4 different pillars just to simplify a little bit the idea around how a membership-based organization can be formed and how a membership-based organization can come to provide services to its constituencies. We can have, for example, an association that is under a form of a club. So normally is a forum of networking and fully run by board members. We don't have staff at the secretariat. So there is not an organizational structure. It's more a club. It's something that we do, but without too much structure in terms of what we provide. Okay. Then we go on a starter MBO. Then it's up to you to locate yourself in one of those elements. Start BO is as a small secretariat. So we move from the club, we move from the informal type of networking that we have to something that is more embryonic and is more starting. Okay, starting MBO as a small secretariat, then mainly have networking and advocacy functions. They have few base of staff and trained staff, and but most of the time the lack of clear vision and strategy. So you remember the value proposition. What is your value proposition for members? So most of the time in start MBO, it's looking a little bit for this value proposition. So they mostly lack of resources and experience. Then we have membership-based organization, which is established professional secretariat, several services on top of the base of the advocacy of representing the members, but also they said they also provide services. They have capable because they have a larger secretariat. They are more well equipped. Possibly they have IT equipments. They have better resources to connect to each other. And they are recognized already as a partner. Okay, is something that has a certain trajectory, that has done his proof and can bring to the table already a value proposition that is tangible and is recognized from others. And also an MBO that is established as a diversified membership. They have more a diversified membership. Then we have the star membership-based organization. We have the best practice. On the other hand, we have the club, which is amatorial, and we have star MBO, which is the best practices. It's a knowledge supplier. Is an MBO that has gone through all different stages and have achieved relevant goals in specific areas. This association is recognized as a relevant player in those specific area. They're usually staffed with professional staff. They have a good base of staff that can act on behalf of the member, that can provide services. They have a structure that is already more solid, is more defined. They've high reputation and influence. Okay, they made their proof. They have relevant area, and they have for this reason the fact that they have a clear value proposition. They have recognition. They have a large number of members because their members recognize the fact that being part of that association means to benefit from that recognition and means benefit from that expertise and service offer. So it's up to you to understand where you actually fit in one of these four levels. It's very much schematic. Maybe there are different shades among those type of association, but it's good that you actually start understanding where you are in terms of a business support organization, so that you can say, okay, I take stock that I am at this stage of development and I need to move up scale to become more visible and more recognized. Okay. Now, before we go to a coffee break that I already unveiled, what's the time? Yeah, we are in good timing. We are almost half into this training. I would like to open maybe the floor for some questions. I don't know if Ryan, you agree. Maybe if there are some questions we can address, and if you have some questions, we can maybe already ask if there are questions either on the curriculum or on what has been discussed up to now, so that we can clear some doubts already. Then we will go in a little bit of a break, and then we'll continue with the second part about the business models. Okay, so I open the floor. I hope that I wasn't not too fast, not too slow, that I was sufficiently clear. And please, either you raise your hand, or maybe we can answer some questions that are in the chat if need be. Thank you.
Hi,
Hello.
Andrea. I was monitoring the chat. I don't see any questions in there. So if anyone has any questions they'd like to say using their mic, maybe that's better. Thanks. I see Miss Haja Marie has her hand raised. Would you like to go first?
Yes, yes, yes. Good morning. Hello.
Yes, good
Yes.
morning. Sorry, I
Hello.
had muted my microphone. Yes, I hear you perfectly.
Yeah.
You can answer you ask your question in both in French or English as you prefer.
Okay. I will speak in English. My name is Haja Marie Bobkande from Sierra Leone. I am the president of the Market Women Association. We are in the informal sector. So sorry, I'm a bit late. I was not able to get you from that particular angle to know about how to manage the informal sector organization, business organization. We are purely working with women all over the country. So I want you to throw light on it so that I can understand how to continue managing the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajmari. This is exactly, I think you are in the right place. Your question is the $1 million question, obviously, in the sense that is a very broad question that we will try to answer to large extent throughout this the training curriculum. So maybe if you join us later, I can go a little bit back on what we'll be covering. So today and next week, we will covering how to develop business development model for sector association, and in particular business women association. We will then go into the governance. We will go into strategy, service portfolio, risk management and result measurement, and then we will go into networking strategy. So definitely we will be answering your questions, because your question on how to continue serving your women business association and women business entrepreneurs is very much the results of many components of how you define yourself, how you develop your strategy, how you define your value proposition, how you define your business model, how you define your strategy and service portfolio, etc., etc. So I think you're in the right place. I encourage you to follow us in this training, and for the time being, what I can say is that our discussion will be an intersection between what business membership-based organizations are doing in general, and a specific perspective on the gender aspect, on the women specific issues. Okay, so thank you for your question. Thank you for your interest.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
If we have time for one more question, I see Ms. Fosile has her hand raised.
Absolutely, please.
You may unmute yourself. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Am I able to speak now?
Yes, yes, we hear you loud and clear.
All right. Thank
Good
you.
morning.
I'm saying this is I'm from Zambia, Fosile, and I'm finding this training very rich and very good, because sometimes we join these organizations without really understanding the genesis, or even the structure, but not where you're going. So I'm glad that we are learning this. The question is, are we going to have a certification at the end of the training?
Okay. Thank you for your interest. This is our objective, to provide a broad overview of all the building blocks of an association, so that we can all be on the same page and we can speak the same language at the end of this training. In terms of certificate, I think that is foreseen, but I will let Anaita to answer to this question.
Sure. Yes, thank you, Ms. Fosile. So we do have a series of sessions, happening from now until June. So I think it is possible to send a certificate of participation for those who are able to attend the sessions until then, but it would be later in the year. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So I guess the registration you do prior to each seminar will be including your name into the list of participants, and you will be having a certificate at the end of the cycle.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes, we hear you loud and
Hello.
clear. Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm from Nigeria. Please enlighten me more on value proposition. That's the meaning of value proposition. Thank you.
Very good. We will discuss this in several sessions going forward for value proposition. Actually, the session that Ryan is going to run just after a short break will be about value proposition and business model. But we also will have in 3 trainings from now, we will have something about the strategy. And this is something that is going to talk about value proposition. So value proposition, I found the slide finally. Value proposition is what is the reason, what is the compelling, the very unique reason that exists for SMEs or individuals, depending on what type of association that you are, to join you. If I ask you, for example, can you please tell me what is your association? Are you part of an association or you're an enterprise? Hello? Sorry, I'm addressing the question to the person who asked the question now, who was asking about value.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You are an
Yes,
association.
I can hear you. Yes, I belong to an association.
Okay, can you please tell us what is, your name, your association, and the role that you occupy in the association? And then this is something that I would like to say to everybody. Every time you ask a question, we would like to a little bit of a context. So you say your name, who you're representing, so your name, your association, and your role. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. My name is Esther Bodu, the CEO of Ferrit Ventures Limited. We are located in Nigeria, and we process ginger, cashew, and we belong. Our company belongs to an association that is NEPC, that is a business support association. Yeah.
Very good. NEPC, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, we know them quite well.
Yes.
It's the National Trade Promotion Organization. And I understand that you are you process ginger and cashew. So I would say that in terms of value proposition, I mean, on terms of type of organization, you very much sit within the industrial estate association, or you are an association that provides concrete support for doing a specific task. I was giving the example of roasting coffee before, but in terms of your type of support, you probably have machineries and you have buildings or facilities that allows your members to process ginger and to process cashew. Why? Because probably you work with
Yeah.
small enterprises that cannot afford to have the machinery by themselves. So your value proposition, it's very clear. It's very clear. I mean that you probably either charge a membership fees to those members, or you actually charge for the service itself. And for me, your value proposition is quite clear in the sense you work with micro and small and medium enterprises that have little capacity to add value to their products, and you provide industrial estate facilities, which can be bigger or smaller. It can be a simple mill, or it can be a simple machinery, but it can be also a big packaging plant. I don't know, whatever it is, but that you provide a specific service to them. So you help them processing ginger and cashew. The value proposition here is that for me, for a company who has ginger and I don't know how to process it, or I have cashew, I don't know how to process it, I ask you, okay, can you help me processing this? And this is a very unique value proposition. I need to accomplish this task, and you help me doing this task. This is very specific to your case. However, value proposition in general, what we call value proposition is why, as an enterprise, I should pay a membership fee. Why I should pay why I should pay these services. What is the value proposition? And it's important that you are able to articulate the value proposition clearly so that there is no ambiguity regarding what is your added value, what you bring to the table as an association. Okay? So I don't know if I was clear. I don't know if Ryan, you want to add something, but yeah, for me, value proposition is why do I pay the association for, really, in a short, in a nutshell.
If I may add, and you're exactly on point, Andrea, in as far as referencing value proposition, basically is a statement, it's a clear statement of what customers get out from you, either your enterprise or an association. What kind of value do you offer vis-a-vis other competitors who could offer similar propositions? So, in essence, when we work with membership-based organizations, we want to create that compelling story that provides uniqueness and distinguishes us from among other associations where we offer a greater value for what we charge as a membership fee or as a service for our members.
Very good. Has your question be answered, madam?
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Yes, it has
I'm
been
happy.
answered. Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Hello?
Yeah.
yes,
Hello,
yes,
can I be on?
yes, please, you're next.
My name is Jerry Uwereka, Free J Consult Limited. We add value to fish. Now, my question is, you have belonged to an association already, but the association is not growing because they have not done a proper registration of the association. It's an international association. So therefore, we are not moving forward because of all these little things. As an association that is adding value to fish, we should be talking of inter-country trade. I buy from Gambia, I sell to Kenya, and these things are not working out well. Why is it? What can we do to improve on it?
Okay.
Because the name of the association is called All Fish Net. We are big. Yes, we are almost 4 years old. The association has no legitimate document.
I think that you,
registration.
I think you have hit the point, and you have already given yourself an answer. First of all, I invite you to tell this association to attend this meeting, this training. So pass it on the information. I think it's good that more members, more staff of this association come on board to understand the building blocks of this association. And your answer will be fully responded in the third session that we have about governance. You have fully understood what is that about. When an association is informal, it does not have, let's say, formal status, a formal, let's say, bylaws that defines clearly what is the value proposition, that defines clearly what are the relationships that their association should have with other stakeholders, that does not have clear status, that does not allow to understand the legal implication of the work of this association. Because if I'm informal, I don't have a juridical personality. I'm not a juridical personality. I'm not a personnalité juridique in French, we say, right? So I cannot act on behalf of the association if I'm not formally established. I cannot engage in contracts, in legal interaction with other counterparts. So you pretty much there is a misalignment between the setup and your objective. So your objectives are ambitious. The objective of this association are ambitious because it aims at adding value to fish and to sell it internationally. So I mean, it's a big objective. It's something that it has an international aspiration. But on the other side, the misalignment is that this association is not formal. So as you said, cannot perform appropriately the tasks that would bring that organization to achieve those objectives. So there is a misalignment between the mandate of the organization and the governance structure that governs the running of the association. This is why it is important that this is very clear, and this is why, responding to the first question that we have to the lady to asking how can we continue providing services, is not an easy answer. It will come throughout this training because all the building blocks will make sense in the bigger picture.
Yeah, but can I come in?
I hear you loud and clear.
Hold on.
Yes, then sure.
Hold on, please. The problem there is the country. The country has a bylaw that does not allow you to register an association, an international association. But you don't want to leave that association to go to another country to register it. This has been the main block because All Fish Net is on for 4 years. It will be 4 years this year. It's in Tanzania. We had it in Tanzania. It was organized by AU AIBA. And up till this moment, as I'm speaking with you, there is no document of registration, which means that the country there has a law that does not allow to, that is in Tanzania, that does not allow you to register companies, associations like that. But the members of the association who are in that country don't want to let go for another country to pick the registration up. Why? What can we do?
I'm a little bit, yeah. You want to come in, Ryan?
I'd like to respond.
I'm a bit,
I think,
yes, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, madam, my understanding is so your association operates in different countries, and in one country over the other, there are different registration requirements that would have to be met. And my understanding from what you're saying is that in one country, there are some nuances vis-a-vis other country in relation to association registration. So technically, even if I register the association in your country, while the service that this association would like to offer would be going bilateral or multilateral somehow with other countries, the benefits won't be as probably inclusive because you're not able to perform other responsibilities in the other jurisdiction where the association should also operate. Is that the concern that you have at the moment?
Yes, that's what we have at the moment.
Okay, okay. What I think is important to do is one, if the association is operating already from, as Andrea mentioned, from a jurisdiction that has allowed it to operate, the next step is for this association to find the right entry point in the other country that it would like to operate under. For example, in the Philippines, we have what we call the American Chamber of Commerce. And American Chamber of Commerce is basically operating worldwide as a franchise of the American Chamber brand. And they normally set up different branches in different countries so they can help operate and support American businesses. So the American franchise would have to now distinguish the law that another country would have vis-a-vis its roots or its origin. And in that case, if you can find a good representative in the association where you would like to have a branch or office of the association outside its original country or country of origin, then we can set it up. The key there is basically to find a good set of representatives who would be able to speak on behalf of the mission and vision of the association, and they would be able to find the way to kind of work within the juridical process or the legal framework in the country to operate. I understand the association has been operating for 4 years, but this has been a stumbling block. Maybe one way to look at it and to review it, and I've encountered some of these kinds of association moving forward is there a right match in as far as the association's fit to start its operations being accredited in the same degree that the country of origin has accredited the association. So maybe there would be other representation that the association would fall as a category in a different country that nonetheless would have the same operating standards in as far as your mission is concerned as an association.
All right,
Thank you.
thank
Could
you.
I please say something?
Would that make sense,
Yes.
madam, for us to take a look at that more thoroughly in looking at the dynamics from one country to the other?
Yes, it makes sense.
Good,
Could I
Thank you.
respond to this?
Okay. Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Yes, please go
Good
ahead.
morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good.
Please.
Yes, my name's Olaomi Dayo Adepoju. We operate
Yes,
an
madam.
agro-processing company, and we trade by the brand name of Q-Best and First Lady Spices in the agro-processing industry. I'm at the moment representing the National Spices Association as a VP Southwest. We have put this association together. It's a national association, and we are at the very embryo stage of putting it into structure and the modalities of operating the association. We appreciate that this training is coming up at the right time, and we appreciate SheTrades at the same time for their support always. We hope that the certificate that will be issued here will be given to every participant of this program. Thank you. We are actually listening. I want to gain more from this training. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment and feedback, and we look forward to a very healthy and productive conversation with you moving forward. And
Thank you.
definitely, we're here to listen, but also exchange ideas together. So as much as you're learning, we are learning from you as well, and hope this experience and journey that we're undertaking would support the dynamics as well as as you mentioned, the development
Bye.
of your association. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Participants and
Hi.
Ryan,
Could I,
in
could
the
I please say
interest
something?
in the interest of time, I wanted to call the break on, maybe, so that we have, maybe we will reduce it because we have a lot to cover. It's okay. We have the same topic we will address in two sessions, this session and the next one. So, but I like to move a little bit on because we already 15 minutes of questions, and maybe can I suggest that we have a short break, like 5 minutes, and we resume, and so that we can cover the second part, which is actually the meat, the juicy part of the of the training. Otherwise, we risk to run out of time. So I don't want to cut anyone short, but would you agree? Can we do that? So it's 12:14 here, whatever 14 in your countries, it will give 7:14 in Manila. So let's grab 5 minutes coffee and let's get back here.
Yes, certainly. And we'll continue after 5 minutes. Thank you.
5 minutes have passed. Maybe we slowly resume. I see that we keep a good record of participants. So we are 150 now. So we have a good let's say stability of the number of participants. That means that there is a certain level of interest, I assume. So that's it's. I'm happy for that. Anita, anything to signal at the moment?
From our side, no, but if
Good.
you'd like to begin, I think in the chat there was one question that maybe at some point in the session we might be able to
Yes.
address, and that was the question of, especially during the COVID pandemic, how do you retain members within your organization that you've already trained? And maybe that'll be addressed later on as well,
Yes.
but just wanted to flag that question.
Yes. We have several resources also about that. We have several studies that we can share with you. I think that SheTrades also already had a very good guide on COVID pandemic response. Anita, I would recommend that you can share that guide here in the chat, but also in the Moodle platform. Just would like to inform that all this material, all this knowledge that we are building together, it will be then uploaded into a platform where you will be able to access all these documents. Okay, and this will be one of our key tools for the networking. And yes, definitely, COVID pandemic response is something that we are going to cover, and also in terms of business model. Thank you very much. So we can resume. So Brian, over to you. Over to you. I will go next.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Andrea. And again, very happy to join all of you, our stakeholders from various women business associations. And I'm very happy to be here with you. So as Andrea started earlier, the importance of being part of an association and being able to lead an association is something that we aspire through the mission statements and the clarity as far as how do we distinguish ourselves in relation to the services, the quality, and the standards that we provide to our members and our stakeholders. My presentation would now delve into other specific areas in which we'll be able to build and understand the business model approach in relation to strengthening our activities, but also investing on the right mix of initiatives, programs, and how do we actually go about in prioritizing these services that we are matching together with our fine mission statements. And I'll start with the concept of membership. So rightfully, a membership-based organization is founded on the notion that we support causes for our members. As defined by Andrea earlier, membership-based associations operate on the dynamic that they are representing a common interest of group of individuals or enterprises who are technically known as their members. These are members normally and in most cases, and I would say I would always argue on the fact that membership-based organizations through their members are collecting fees, what we call membership fees or subscription fees, so that they're able to retain their membership but also avail of specific services that the association provides. The membership fee as well, or what we call the contract between the membership and the association, makes or entitles any member to vote on any association matter or any association important decision process. Members elect the board of directors of the association, and the board of directors act as custodians or caretakers of the association. Board members are basically what we call parties who are accountable to the members and not the other way around. Members are the heart and the soul of the association. So we should always remember that our whatever we do, whatever we invest on, whatever we develop as a product and services, and whatever we decide on should always take into consideration, major consideration, what would be the benefits and how our members would be able to generate the kind of benefit that is needed for them to operate as a business or for them to create networks of opportunities. In most instances, and I'd always encourage this to all associations that I have trained and worked with, we should have a membership handbook. The membership handbook provides a clear manifestation of who we are, of our identity as an association, as well as our commitment to our members in terms of product and service delivery portfolio. So our handbook is used basically as like a menu in which our members will be able to identify the right service or the right product that would serve their interests or that would help their in advancing their specific needs as an enterprise or an entrepreneur. How do we differentiate a member with that of a stakeholder? A stakeholder is an individual or a group of organizations that have an interest in the mission and the programs of our membership-based organization, but do not qualify as a full member. Meaning to say, stakeholders are external to the work and the operations of our association. But stakeholders are important as well to attract because they could be part of the bigger customer base where they can avail specific products and services that we offer. So we want to work both with members who are defined in as far as their interests and the kind of product and services that we would offer because of this specific interest, and that is determined through the value proposition that we provide in our association. And stakeholders are external individuals or groups that we want to work with as an extension of the support that we will offer to our members that somehow reflect might also reflect the needs, the same needs and desires for these groups or individuals to be able to avail of the same services. So I'd like just like to emphasize those key points, because later on we'll be using these terms more effectively and eloquently in the way we look at our models and how these models are basically addressing specific needs of either membership base or our stakeholders. And next slide, we are going to provide you some typical categories of association members. So basically, in running an association or a membership-based association, we classify the kind of members that we have in relation to their interests, in relation to the services, or in relation to the mode or modality in which they participate in any of our activities. The most common type of a member of an association or a membership-based organization is what we call a regular or direct members. So depending on how we see ourselves as a membership-based association, for example, if we are a chamber of commerce or an umbrella organization, our direct members could actually fall in different subcategories. One could be companies. This could be small, medium enterprise, or multinational companies or big companies. Another manifestation of a direct member that would fall under an umbrella organization would be industry or trade associations, where we cater to different sectoral programming. If we are a more specific trade or industry or sectoral association, typically our direct members would be enterprises or individuals for that matter, because enterprises, there are juridical personalities that are provided depending on the legal statute of our country. So they operate as a juridical personality, or a member could also be an individual herself, because she is an independent entrepreneur or she's a business professional that provides or supplies services to other enterprises in the same ecosystem. So individual or direct, or what we call direct members, they draw benefits from the association. So sometimes, if they're enterprises, they provide what we call representatives to the association to participate in any of the activities, either one or two or many other representatives, depending on how the services we identified and we develop would resonate well on the needs of our enterprise members. And the individuals as well would somehow work towards drawing benefits from the services, again, given the specific interests of these individuals for the services that we offer. And then there are other nuances depending on how we operate as an association. In some associations I work with, they consider academic members. So these are professionals or professors or experts on different fields. One way to look at it in giving them kind of a headway in terms of participating as a member, this could be both a non-voting, either a non-voting member, meaning to say honorary membership given to an academic or a professor, or a voting membership where the person has a fully paid responsibility for towards the association. One way to consider this strategic membership for either entertaining academic members or professionals, either in different fields, is the use of their talents and skills. So one way is to get resource from their knowledge and skills and expertise on specific interests that the association might be investing on later on, particularly when it comes to training, when it comes to promoting specific standards for the industry, or even advocating for the interests of the association. And there are other members that are considered to be honorary or retired. This is common in as far as the association I worked with in the past, like the Australian New Zealand Association. So there are individuals in the expat community here in Manila who are Australians and who have served their term very well as support to the causes of supporting trade between the Philippines and Australia and New Zealand. So we elevate them because in that category, because they provide the sense of influence, they provide the sense of credibility, and they provide network as well for the association to operate. And there are other types of members relevant to the industry and ecosystem that might be specific according to your needs and the domain that you operate. Again, this is important as well because they provide the strategic purview of how our association operates and how we draw basically revenues out of the memberships, because again, the most critical element or foundation of our business model for any association has to do with our membership. That's always the starting point, and everything else would become integral in as far as the membership ecosystem and the way we develop our relationship with our stakeholders in the eventual process. Which brings me to the next slide, on the membership concept. And the membership concept, as we mentioned earlier, any association business model is founded on the provision of what we call the membership fees, or the subscription for the membership participation in any association. So any association is encouraged to develop what we call a system, based on the categories of members, based on the services that we offer, and based on the natural foundation and organic attrition or development of the association. We provide what we call annual membership fees paid by the members to maintain the delivery of services that we offer to them. This is basically the main source of revenues for most associations. Having said that, typically, and I would say typically, but not necessarily, this is the typical, or not necessarily the whole model itself, but typically a strong association has a balanced distribution of membership fees and other non-revenue streams. And why is this important? I will later on subscribe to this theory, or mechanism, having served as association executive myself, because we cannot depend on membership alone for us to be able to withstand any specific, let's say, problems or crisis, or stability and sustainability of the association. In most cases, we would encounter some turnaround or some attrition in as far as membership is concerned. So that there are good days, there are bad days. That's why in the whole vehicle of strategic positioning for membership, or for association, I would always emphasize that we should have targets on how many members we should attract on a given year, and create that balance in as far as collection of dues vis-a-vis non-juice revenues. According to studies, and this has been evolved in many of the resources and literature that I've been familiar with, having been an association professional myself, the most typical model for membership generation is to comprise our whole revenue pie of around 42% of revenue coming out of membership dues. And this is explained by the next slide. So 42% is the most ideal share of revenue dues from any membership-based organization. The rest, the 58%, should be properly balanced and nurtured through what we call non-membership revenues. And this would be where the models would fit in later on when we want to acquire a more specific areas to develop our models. Why is this so? Why it's not over 50%? Why can't be 90%? Or why can't it be 75%? Again, what we're saying is, if we look at when we look back into Andrea's slide earlier on the growth or evolution of associations, typically associations start as a foundational element of their business model in collecting membership fees. So typically, if you're in a club, that's the typical service, or that's a typical fee that you would pay, regardless of any service that you get. The more services that you offer, the more you evolve as an association, given, let's say, more experience in developing products, because you have a staff, a marketing staff to work with you. You have an advocacy agenda to influence decision-making process in as far as, let's say, the grain sector is concerned, or coffee is concerned. And you have an opportunity to develop a network and do business matching with different suppliers, and find that nurturing work within the space of supply chain, and be able to work with stakeholders and members in the different supply chains. Those would come now as revenue pie. Again, what the intention for having membership fees not to overwhelm or not to oversubscribe our revenue pie is that one that we would depend on it as a foundational element for revenue generation, but nonetheless, we're not totally dependent on it in the way we sustain the operations and run the operations of our organization, because we don't want to be complacent. We want to be attractive for other types of services that are non-revenue, non-membership centric, meaning to say, looking at the broader stakeholder, but using the base that we have for our members as our first attraction in as far as our membership delivery is concerned. Which brings me now to my next slide on appreciating what other forms of revenue models that we can work out. These are income revenue stream models that we can develop and we can work out in as far as our business model is concerned. One way to look at it again is to create value through the interaction with our stakeholders. In many occasions, one way or another, as an entrepreneur or as a servicing board member or a professional or a leader in your association, you would definitely be invited to many events, be it a government sanctioned event or an industry event or a donor event for that matter. And making use of this vehicle, the interactions that we make through let's say understanding the needs of the stakeholders would help us basically create what we call a model in relation to supporting more services or creating products that are uniquely owned originated from our association. And the other important lesson in doing this is we need to understand our total organization and the activities that interact, basically the different lines of businesses or different lines of commercial activities that we want to generate out of our relationship and our interaction with our members. Is training a real magnet to support enterprise development vis-a-vis mentorship? So there are different tracks on training. The one is more in the standard certification type of training, vis-a-vis mentorship, where we provide advice and support and system to enable our enterprise members become more sustainable in their operations. And the important aspect here is that when we create our business model and our revenue stream outside our membership model, it is important that we generate consistent stakeholder value that aligns with our mission and vision statement. I would encourage all my affiliates and all the association I work with to not go beyond your scope of mission and vision. Please don't go beyond your identity. You have set your identity forward. That is your rallying point. Um, I think, Andrea, we lost the screen. So if we can come back to slide 34. Our
Yeah,
identity, which is
sorry.
represented by, go ahead, no worries. Our identity, which is represented by our mission and vision statements and our governance principles and its association, our values, our association, is a rallying point in generating the kind of value that would espouse what we call the value proposition, if not the ability to create new services that would cascade down to the needs and merits of individuals and enterprise who we think should benefit from by doing this effort of investing on our business model. So just want to point out that this is a very important notion before we start conceptualizing or contextualizing our business model approach. And in the next slides, we're going to run through now the different income generation models that are outside the periphery of the membership model, but nonetheless are connected to the delivery of what we call stakeholder value, both for internal members and that of external to our association as stakeholders. So one way to generate income and generate support to augment our resources as an association is events organization. Again, we don't have to go beyond our membership to do our events organization. A typical event that we create or that we develop in my work with different associations in the past would be what we call membership monthly membership meetings or membership forums. And these are typical resources where we invite experts from different fields, a government official for that matter, or other important individuals or groups who could share basically different trends, different value of resources that would benefit the membership as a whole collectively. And these events could be free for members while we attract a solid base or a base of non-members that can be who can pay a specific fee for just participating in this particular kind of activity. This is a very typical product that most associations would have. Why is this? There are three things why we can leverage on this events organization as a membership or as an income generation model. One is it leverages again the interest of our members. We want to maintain relevance, we want to maintain credibility and influence among our members. So having a showcase of an actual event, be it now, unfortunately, we cannot do as much as physical events, but having a webinar event for that matter would make us still visible. And we want to create that visibility. That's our main marketing tool, marketing channel, that we are visible to our members. The second aspect is that whenever we construct or develop an event, part of the process is having what we call a budget that would entail, like, let's say, either a sponsor where we'll be able to give some quality time to promote a product or service that aligns with the interests of our members, or again, we want to expand our network and opportunities to work with non-members, and in that case, it evolves and it enables us to effectively network with a bigger group of individuals and enterprises who then, if they're not yet members, can see the benefit of being part of our membership pool. The next important model is what we call the grants and donation model. And this, basically, grants and donations are typically generated from different sources, be it donor community or development agencies or companies themselves who work with different associations on specific causes as part of their either corporate social responsibility or part of their foundation mission, among others. Understanding that there is an opportunity for us to generate resources, we should be able to also net basically work with these donors and donation partners in a way that we work with them on a sustainable premise. How's that in this case? Currently, I work for an organization that also provide grants. And in the Philippines, we identified one very small emerging business organization that is working on a diverse sector, and we provided them a grant to do their study. But we said, you're too small to be able to do a comprehensive study like this. So we want to work with you in doing your study on a governance framework. We want to work with you side by helping you develop your organization. So you will be able to develop your signature product based out of this signature advocacy that we're working on with you. So one way to look at that is to build capacity of the association. Many of us would probably be operating on a small scale capacity. And part of our leadership, matching and strategic positioning for the association should work towards working with individual donors or donation partners to help us strengthen our foothold, our foundation first, to do budgeting, planning, and strategic positioning. So part of the grant that we are giving to that association is to for them to do a strategic plan that basically elevates that connects the plan into the actual product that they would like to develop as a technical material or resource. So that is one opportunity, making use of grants and donations. On the other hand, there are also grants and donations that are obtained where we're able to charge for professional fees of not just consultant, but in-house staff. I would always encourage when I get a grant, I would always encourage my board to look at the bigger picture of not just hiring a consultant to do a 6-month project and then we're done. But we want to operate on a sustainable premise. So some grants would help us pay for utilities, for fees of our secretariat personnel. And that helps us now develop what we call a sustainable pattern for our resources to be more developed for future transactions and progress in relation to our activities. The next aspect is quite similar to grants and donations, but more specific to commercial sponsorship and advertising. This is a very common type of non-membership dues and activities for associations. Sometimes there are partners who want to work with us on specific causes. For example, many companies want to, let's say, have a venue for them to talk about their corporate responsibility in relation to sustainable supply chain or promoting better opportunities for small and medium enterprise to be part of their supply network. And sponsorships can come in the form of both non-monetary and monetary resources. I'd always encourage my membership-based organization partners to work on both, to see the advantages and the silver lining on operating and creating a nurturing partnership with sponsors, both on the monetary and non-monetary sense. Basically, sponsorships can be given on a single event, or we can package sponsorships on a year-long activity. So if we know for one that we are scheduling regular membership meetings, if we know for one that we scheduling annual conferences, if we know for one that we are sending out e-newsletters on a weekly or a bi-monthly basis, then we know for a fact that we have a venue to cater to our sponsorship network. And this is a very typical type of a resource that we provide so that we're both, again, able to generate revenue, but also maintain trust and confidence in the relationship with our sponsors who would eventually help us navigate through other opportunities to do business. The next important model could come in the form of specific services. So the next slide would talk about specific services and products as well as training and consulting. Again, these are very typical as well for many associations, but I have to say, in maintaining training, consulting services, as well as other products and services, this tend to have some cost for us to maintain. So either we need a space for us to do trainings, we need certification from different bodies, we need to sustain also the efforts in terms of attracting good trainers, among others, if they're not present in-house wise. So part of that is understanding, again, the needs of our members and what kind of opportunity we, coming from our value proposition and our identity as an association, could come in. A good example of this is from the association or the Chamber of Commerce I worked for in the past. The Philippine Chamber of Commerce, the largest business association in the Philippines, created a Philippine Chamber Development Institute. Basically, instead of us sending our local chamber executives, the chamber has more than, if I'm not mistaken, more than 120 local chapters around the Philippines, and we're in an archipelago of 7,000 islands, and we have more than 150 business and sectoral associations under the umbrella of the chamber, and there are 55 or more, 60 I think, bilateral business council. We invest on training them. Sometimes we send them abroad for training. These are executives who pay their dues as affiliate members of the association. So part of the solution that the chamber developed in the last 10 years was to basically found its own development institute, so it can now provide and accredit its own trainers and provide training for chamber executives, how to start operating a local chamber that can be an affiliate of the national chamber, improving the management skills of the secretariat, among others. So in here, we dovetail the component of the institute by sourcing grants, by generating sponsors, or working with different talents such as a speakers bureau or a speakers pool, so that the resources are augmented, but the knowledge are therefore escalated to a different degrees of association planning and development. And in the next example, this is the other cycle or the other domain of membership or non-membership model. So we're going to look at expenditure model. So we're look at revenue model, but expenditure model, on the other hand, is basically what matches the whole proposition for costing our different business model. So for us to effectively operate as an association, we need to maintain what we call a general administrative cost, basically, to operate our work. Basically, this includes staffing, this includes rental costs, among others, as well as utilities. So we have to augment or we have to be mindful that any input or resource input would have a certain cost, and we have to dovetail that as well in as far as revenue generating is concerned. And the other kind of expenditure model for us that we can invest on is basically organization and participation in events. A good example of this is an association that I'm familiar with also in the Philippines, the Women's Business Council. The council participates in the ASEAN Women Entrepreneur Network, wherein a network of business women in the region share their knowledge and experience. So there are cost components because there would be entailing travel costs, there will be entailing some accommodations when you participate in the network such as this, but the return to the association is basically it entices or enhances again their value in as far as regional networking is concerned, where they can promote products and services of the members in a regional scale, and also encourage business matching activities together with their members on a regional element or regional platform. The next slide is on project program and product expenses. Again, for us to maintain, I think next slide, Andrea, for us to maintain very good, again, and sound relationship with our stakeholders and our members, part of our well-being is to design products and programs that recognizes the value of these members and our stakeholders. So one example of an expenditure model where we create basically a good investment for revenue, eventual revenue programming for non-membership dues would be recognition and awards. And in the chamber, in other associations I work with, they provide this because it incentivizes one, companies who are part of our members who are doing well in either protecting the environment or showcasing women entrepreneurs at its best, or enhancing entrepreneurship from the lens of the younger generation, or even supporting government units or government agencies who are promoting ease of doing business and business-friendly practices and organizations. So these are the kind of projects and programs that would have some costs when we invest on, but the return again becomes substantive if we're able to strategically work within the element of dovetailing sponsorship, dovetailing membership recruitment, and dovetailing broader stakeholder relations with our partners. And the last example of an expenditure model would be external consultancy and training and seminars. Basically, as we mentioned earlier, one way to look at our investment in training and seminars is for us to have our own in-house program for training and consultancy and seminars, or the other way is to basically work with an external partner so that it lessens the cost for us maintaining some degree of facilities, among others, but it still provides the same value and relevance in relation to working with our members. An example of this is a Kaizen leadership program that my former chamber, the Australian Chamber, works on with the Kaizen Leadership Asia. Kaizen is basically a Japanese term that means change for the better. So it's an application of a management technique that is continuously shared among the members of the chamber. So we work on this premise, and basically we don't need to maintain an in-house facility to do that, but we work with external training provider, and we provide honorariums while we get the degree of participation based out of our membership and other stakeholders who are non-members to the association. In essence, in our next slide, the critical elements for us to, when we structure our membership model, is we always go back to these three main premise. One is having a unique value proposition, which has already been explained by Andrea earlier. A sound profit model, meaning to say we know what costs are integral and what revenues are then derived after we put out the budget and lessening or less or after we subtract the cost, and an efficient and effective execution model. And I think the third one is somehow one of the more critical challenges that we have in relation to the execution model, because one way is to see everything in paper, but when we execute, I mean, do we commit to the same frequency that we said in the paper that we will do the events, or do we commit in the same contract that when we subscribe with in sponsorship of the delivery or the kind of network that the sponsor will be able to generate from what we subscribe to as a proponent of the contract. So it's always important to leverage again on our strength as an association, and again on our mission and vision, so that we are working within the universe of what we're capable of, notwithstanding the fact that we can go beyond and experiment and see the benefits of having a wonderful relationship with our members and non-members. The last few slides, I'd like to share this, and forgive me, I think we're running out of time a bit, but this is where we start creating what we call the value proposition of our association. Andrea mentioned earlier the key term or the key question that we should always ask ourselves: what compelling reason exists for individuals or businesses to join and pay membership dues, which is the primary source of our revenue for an association? As we said, the foundation starts with that membership fee that we collect, and hopefully that would set the tone and the bar on how far we go in as far as delivering more services to our members and stakeholders. So I coined this term called BURN. BURN stands for B, business opportunities; U, uniform industry standards and practices; R is for representation, advocacy, and outreach; and N is for networking. Using this terminology provide us basically a positioning, but also enables us to properly categorize the services that we do. Because I noticed for many of the associations I worked in the past, many of their services tend to repeat, and they lose out the value because they're repeating the same service while not generating the same or the quantifiable amount or degree of success based on measurable indicators. So I coiled this term as someone who's been in the field for quite some time, because I see the value of categorizing, but also on investing on key priorities that each category would entail in as far as our program for membership and greater non-membership dues would be concerned. Let's talk about quickly about them. Membership opportunities refer to a service where our association provides package information to support an investor and entrepreneur to begin or operate or sustain a business. Package information would include, among other, business leads, database of business partners, buyers or sellers, types of business ventures, market access information, import, export activities, or even just the premise or information or a catalog of import and services or import and export, how to do import, how to import and export from my country and beyond. Supply chain links, including relevant government contacts or agencies, as well as information and regulations aimed at promoting enabled business environment for businesses to and enterprises to acquire to thrive. What are the key elements or resources we need to start with the business opportunity model or domain, or what we call category? First and foremost, we need to have a basic database of our members, because members data is gold. Basically, it's a gold mine in itself. Using our member data would help us generate the qualifications and the categories and the needs as well of certain individuals or enterprises to be matched according to their needs, be it a supplier, a business venture, an investor who would like to come in. Having as well a list of relevant government agencies that we can direct, and hopefully we have good relations with them, direct our members and non-members alike, for them to know and for them to acquire knowledge on how to do business in our country, would be something of great interest and value for our association to provide. And there are other important data points, such as regulatory information, kinds of laws, basic legislation or policy that are all of interest in relation to promoting and supporting business activities in our country or in our territory. In the next slide, these are critical factors in introducing business opportunities information service. Again, the support done through the leaders and the Secretary General, for that matter. Information service answers the needs of the target group. Our service should effectively be promoted and published. There's a strong linkage with other information services that your country might have been able to build up. And there's a continuity in terms of professional staff that orients as well as provides follow-through information. And the orientation in relation to where the information becomes more premium, that we can develop a pricing model for a specific group of people to be able to access such information. So we start with a model where we can give free, because these are anyway found in the internet, but the value for us doing this is we're targeted to a specific client base and we're a go-to association for these needs. And later on, develop a pricing model in as far as more targeted service that can be drawn out of the information that we develop and solicit. And this would now require more strategic targeting of information that is being housed in our association. The next part of the burn is what we call uniform industry standards or practices. This is before this slide. This refers to a service where we create basically tools to provide compliance or best practice model that is shared across industries to achieve quality assurance, standards, recognition, among others. So typically, these are certification trainings that we provide, either to provide to generate that seal of quality, that because this came from the Women's Coffee Association, the member or the person who acquired this training has the right skill sets in as far as, for example, coffee brewery is concerned, or starting a business on coffee shop, or being able to sell coffee for that matter, being able to trade coffee for that matter. So this service that we do under uniform industry standards would help us now acquire the needed priority to make our training programs targeted to the needs of our members or non-members alike. So developing modules, manuals, certifications, accreditation. Accreditation would normally come from regulatory agencies that would have a specific standards that would protect the interests of the industry determined by law or industry practices. This is a very interesting model because I see a lot of our partners investing in this, but the caveat here is that we should be able to invest and position ourselves strategically in doing business models or in doing activities premised under this category if we are able to have the competency as an association, the confidence as an association that we have the right pool of trainers or partners who can train and to provide that certificate program. And the important thing is that we are recognized by the regulatory body or any regulatory or for that certification body that we're able to do this. A good example is what I'm doing in the corporate governance committee of the chamber. I chair the corporate governance committee. So we have come up with a program of corporate governance training, particularly servicing small and medium enterprises, because we saw the market that there are so many corporate governance training given to executives of multinational companies or bigger companies or corporations or listed companies, but none that really specifically addresses the interests of small and medium enterprise. And we need to have a bandwidth to support better enterprise development and better accountability among small and medium enterprise. So the chamber, through my committee, invested on this competency framework that we provide training and support to particularly target small and medium enterprises. And this is accredited by the Securities and Exchange Commission of the Philippines. So whatever kind of module we develop are in adherence to the law and regulatory statute of the SEC. So these are important notes that we have. And the last few slides will talk about advocacy. This is actually one of my favorite topics because I was born in the association field doing advocacy work for most of my career. I started my work in the advocacy field for associations in 1999, fresh out of college. And in the Philippines, where I come from, we have many dynamics with the government. We work with the government a lot, but there's so many problems, and there are also many opportunities to provide solutions. So what I've learned in doing association work for the last 2 decades of my career is that advocacy is certainly one of the most important, if not the vehicle, for our members to thrive and succeed in their domain in enterprise development. Why is that so? Our association, given our breadth and depth and the interests that we represent, whether or not we fall under a specific sector or a category of an umbrella association, our members depend on us for representation. And I hate to say that, unfortunately, one SME company cannot represent themselves in doing advocacy with the government, in passing a specific law, unless they work with an association that can tell the government point blank that we are an association of more than 1,500 small and medium enterprises, and we have the bandwidth and the representation and the voice to represent them. So having this cause is important for associations to elevate their representation and their credibility to represent their members at a level where the government would listen and accept their value proposition and their proposed policy proposal and reforms. So it's important to note that as a service, this is one of the things that we should advertise ourselves as part of our value proposition and in association development. Again, we act as collective voice. We act as proponent of economic development and reform, and we are a data trust center of our members, so that they can through us be able to dialogue with the government, to discuss their problems with the government, to be able to find solutions with the common interests and problems that many entrepreneurs aspire to resolve in their own causes. And if we go to number 51 slide, Andrea, this is the last slide for this particular session, is about networking. And this is one of the fun parts of doing association work, again, because this mainstreams the value of bringing together our members and doing basically interaction with our members. Our members, as we said, is the foundation of who we are. We represent basically the interests of our members. And being able to do networking events, either networking events or networking in general, where we establish connections with our members, is one of the fine work that any association or membership-based organization could do. So this can be in the form of business matching, B2B networking together, or in some essence, just a plain and simple bringing them together. One of the fun events that we do in the Australian-New Zealand Chamber that is certainly more on the social aspect of it is, and I think this is very familiar in as far as sports in Africa, in Europe, or in Australia as well, rugby, or for example, or football, we have viewing parties. In the same light that when we created a networking committee for women entrepreneurs, we also did a luncheon where we invite women entrepreneurs just to share the experience of how to manage a business and what the common issues and resolutions and solutions that they do. So there are different bandwidths for different audiences. So we can do as a sports event would be for male counterparts and women counterparts, or join them together in one networking activity, and that gives the spirit of the unity and togetherness of being part of the association. And I think the slide, my presentation ends for now in that premise. But the next few slides gives us some sort of case studies that you could take a look at, and find out for yourself what kind of burn product or burn category would these case studies fall under. The value of these case studies that I've written here is basically just to showcase how burn categories and products under the burn categories are kind of connected with each other. So one way would lead to the other. Let's say a business opportunity could lead to advocacy representation, or a business opportunity could lead to developing what we call standards or certification programs for your sector industry, and networking opportunities for that matter. So on that note, I'd like to thank you sincerely for your time, for your service, and for your leadership. And I look forward to many more interactions with you as we move forward with our training program.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I think that for a matter of time, actually, you had to rush a little bit through all this very dense content that this presentation has. I hope that we will be able to pick upon some of these key concepts, for example, like the burn model, to next time to actually entangle with this first part of the training. Now, I'd like to maybe go a little bit further. Let me see. There is one thing that we need you to help us in, and this is the evaluation. Okay, so it is important for us to actually tell us what you think and help us improving. Okay, so now Anaita will launch the pool, and we would like you to vote. So the pool evaluation has actually shown on your screen. So the first question is, based on this workshop, do you have improved an awareness of the basic concept of business development model for MBOs and obviously for Women Business Association? So if you think you have achieved this higher level of awareness, please say yes. So say achieved, accompli. And the second one question, or if you think that the awareness is not sufficient and that you didn't get value out of this, you can say not achieved. The second question is, what was the content delivered? Was the content delivered in this workshop relevant for the work of your organization? And this is a binary yes or no question. So yeah, please feel free to submit to choose the answer to both questions, and then click submit underneath, because otherwise we won't be able to see it. We thank you so much for everything. We actually this slide the slide pack will be shared with you after this training, as well as the recording. You will find there lots of other resources like links and other interesting resources that you could use for the functioning of your organization. That said, I am really looking forward to meet you next week on the 9th of February. We will still be hovering around this topic of developing a business model for a business membership-based organization. We will go even further, so we will be more specific, and we will try to address elements such as COVID pandemic responses in the next session. Thank you so much. I don't know, Anita, if you have a last word you'd like to say to the participant. I'm really happy that we, despite the fact that we are over time, we actually managed to keep a good base of participants. And I would like really to thank Ryan for its very clarity and always its very hands-on and very practical examples that he brings this huge added value to the training. Thank you so much. And Aneta, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Andrea. While we have just over 60% of our participants that are still answering the poll, I can just make a few announcements. So a few of you had asked a question in the chat and during the discussion midway through about resources related to COVID-19. So Andrea had mentioned a little bit, and I had posted in the chat about our crisis management toolkit that is available on SheTrades.com. So it is in English and in French, and I'll just post the link to it in the chat in case you missed it earlier so that you can see it after the session as well. For those who were asking also about certificates, just to confirm, we can provide these, but we do really hope that you'll be able to attend the sessions, and that would be a requirement to receive this certificate and also to register. So with that in mind, I am sharing the link to register for next week's session. That's, as Andrea mentioned, February 9th. It will be at the same time as today, so from 11 to 1 p.m. Geneva time. That may be a different time zone for you. But please keep that in mind and register for the event. And just in closing, we would be amiss if we did not thank our participants for joining us today, for taking the time and also staying with us a bit over time today. And thank you to Ryan and Andrea for the rich presentation. And especially after today, we're very excited to have you both with us for the next several sessions, as it will be very interesting for all of us. Thank you also to Baroka and the SME Trade Academy team for helping us throughout the series, and to our linguists, Grace and Excel, for doing the translation throughout the session. So with that, if you have any questions in the meantime, before next week, please feel free to send us an email, and that will be to womenandtrade@intracen.org, and I will share it in the chat. And we hope to see you next week. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
You. Thank you. Good day too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
thank you so
ladies.
much.
Thank you so much.
It was
Thank
so
you very
nice.
much. Thank you.
Adrian, thank you so much. This is Winnie from the Ghana Investment Authority.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Nice one. Thank you. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.